Good morning, Ohana. Happy Sunday. It's David with Speed and Things, and today we're going to talk about decontaminating the car's paint with a clay bar, as well as cleaning up the defects with a polisher. Both of these subjects go hand in hand, right? So you're going to polish your car to make it look nicer, but before you do that, you have to prepare the paint with the clay bar. For the clay bar process, I have a super plush microfiber towel, OG clay bar from Chemical Guys, clay luber detail spray, pair of latex gloves. Now this is optional, but highly recommended. So the whole purpose of the clay bar is to pull contaminants off of the car's paint. So if it's strong enough to pull stuff off of the paint, it's also strong enough to pull whatever crud you have on your hands. Pro tip, if you happen to drop your clay bar, you might as well go ahead and trash it, because now you've turned that clay bar into a piece of sandpaper. Before you start the claying process, the car has to be thoroughly washed. And if you haven't seen my R32 GTR wash vid, highly suggest you check that out. That way you can get up to the point where the car is ready to be clayed. I'm gonna get my gloves on. All right, so I already flattened out this piece of clay. I've already used it a couple times, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ball it up. That way I can expose a new side of the clay. And then I'm gonna take my spray, and I'm actually going to flatten this out on the window so that I reduce the chances of actually barring the paint. Alright, so now I have a nice clean, flat surface to work with. Now you could obviously use more, but this is what I'm going with. But you want to work in areas small enough so that you aren't spraying all over a particular panel. And then let's say you're working down on one side and over here that you've already sprayed dries up. This does not require a lot of pressure, right? Pretty much just the weight of your hand should do the trick. And you're gonna want to work in straight lines, side to side and up and down. You want to avoid doing swirls, because if you do end up picking up a contaminant and then start swirling, you're going to create swirls in the paint's finish. And it is a lot harder to polish out swirls than it is to do straight lines. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so I just did that one pass, and these are the contaminants it pulled. Alright, so not too bad. And we'll move on to the lower half of the car after I've wiped down this excess. I could feel that I'm picking up a lot more contaminants, and so what I'm going to do is use the other side. So it looks like we're done with this one panel, but I'm going to test the work after I wipe it down. And remember, do not put your clay bar anywhere other than a clean container or a Ziploc bag. And just by wiping this down, I can already feel the microfiber gliding over this area of the paint a lot easier. Absolutely a lot smoother to the touch. A lot of those embedded contaminants are now removed. I can feel that there's still a little bit in this little crease right here. I'm gonna hit up this line a little bit more, and then I think that we are almost ready to start polishing. All right, the door has been thoroughly clayed. It's a much better candidate now to start polishing on. Now I'm gonna show you what I'm using to achieve that. Now we have this old school Porter cable machine. It's the 7424XP model. Attached to it is a 5-inch backing plate from detailersdomain.com. The compounds that I'm going to be using for the aggressive first step, I'm going to be using Meguiar's 105 Ultra Cut compound paired with one of their cutting microfiber pads. And then once I've done that, I'm going to move over to a Detailer's Domain or Uber medium pad paired up with Menzerna's medium polish. If you guys have heard a one-step paint correction, two-step paint correction, that's exactly what it is using an aggressive pad and polish combination and then stepping it down to something less aggressive and less aggressive. So for a street car, I honestly think that you could achieve great results with what I consider a two-step process, and that's going from something aggressive down to something medium. As you're polishing, your pads are gonna get a lot of residue in them, and it's actually gonna reduce its effectiveness. So I have a brush that I got from Meguiar's. It is a hard bristle, and you're gonna run the machine and let the brush take off all of the excess residue that's in there so that you can bring back the effectiveness of both the compound that you're using and the pad. Over here we just have another plush microfiber towel, rubbing alcohol, 7% rubbing alcohol that I put into a spray bottle, and after every pass you're going to want to clean the panel. That way you know what you're working with. Before I get started, I'm going to explain what one pass with the polisher is actually going to be like. I'm going to start in one area and I'm going to go up and down, right, until I get to the end of the panel or the area that I'm working with. And then once I've gone in one direction, I'm going to switch directions and go the other way. All right, just like that. And what's really going to determine how long you're going to be polishing for depends on the type of product that you're using. So for the actual Meguiar's 105, I know that I'm going to stop when I start to see the product flashing, right? So like it should almost look like a little bit hazy when the compound has actually been fully broken down. Keep in mind for areas like this little body line right here, that from the factory or from even a paint shop, you're not gonna get as much paint on this little ridge right here than you would on a flat panel. So with that in mind, you don't want to grind away at that for long periods of time. You want to keep the polisher moving over that because there isn't as much paint or clear on it as the rest of the panel, and you can easily burn right through it. All right, so I'm going to work on the upper portion of the door. I'm going to start off with the 105 from Meguiar's and the microfiber pad, and then I'm going to inspect it to see how it looks, and then we'll move on depending on what it's like from there. Pad is cleaned. Now I'm gonna prime it. To prime it, just put a little bit on there, about 3 pea size dabs, and then spread it out like that. Then we're gonna put a little bit more. Again, 3 pea sizes, don't really need to use too much, and we're gonna keep working it until the product starts to flash. So let's get to it. Now to prevent flinging, you're gonna wanna dab it on there first. completed the 2 passes with the Meguiar's 105 and the microfiber cutting pad. Now I'm going to move on to just 1 pass with the Menzerna Super Intense Polish and the Uber Medium Pad. So let's get to it. Alright, we are done. And that was the 2-step process. We used the Meguiar's 105 and the Menzerna polish. And so let's go ahead and take a look at our results now.
Like a thief in the night, I'm coming for your heart, I'm coming for your heart. This time it's anything goes. I guess I'm just myself.
That does it for the paint correction. Because I did a small test panel, now I know the combination needed to finish the rest of the car. I hope you learned something new. Be sure to comment, like, and subscribe if you're not already. Peace.